So, yes, yesterday the Supreme Court came down with a ruling that Trump can no longer use tariffs underneath IEPA. So, does that mean that's the end of America and Trump's tariff plan? I think not. I think we're in great shape. Stick around. You don't want to miss this.
Turn it up loud. This is Freedom Talk.
The administration has other tools in its toolbox. It can actually impose tariffs under other statutes. So this night is hardly over for the administration when it comes to tariffs.
Yes, it's not over. If anything, the ruling yesterday, I think it actually made Trump a lot stronger because they not only did they say that he couldn't do it underneath the IEPA, we do have other sections that we can use. We can use Section 301 and we can use Section 232. 232 allows the president to tariff when it threatens national security. So anything that threatens us, like if someone has denomination on that, anything that comes to a threat, like computer chips, I guess, like China has a monopoly on that and they're tariffing us, which puts a burden on our industry. He can impose tariffs, sort of like reciprocal tariffs. If they do it to us, we can do it to them. So that's covered underneath Section 232. And then also there's Section 301, which is probably aimed at China again, but it's dedicated to stop the cheating. So if someone's trying to mess with us with tariffs in an unsuitable way, then we can go ahead and impose those tariffs back to keep them in check and in balance. So here's Fox News.
Justice Thomas said so brilliantly and eloquently, the language of the statute is clear. Under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the president has the authority to regulate foreign trade. And going back to the founding of our country, the term regulate has always meant and included the power to levy duties. But here's the good news, Laura. As cowardly, as horrendous as the Supreme Court ruling was, as poorly as it reflects on John Roberts' court and the continued torturing of our statutes and our Constitution, here's the good news. The court also affirmed the president has the authority under Section 301, Section 232, Section 122, Section 338, and many other provisions of federal law that the president can levy tariffs on foreign nations. So his program will not only be fully reconstituted, but it will be expanded. And one more point, Laura. The Supreme Court also affirmed that under IEPA, the president has authority to restrict, impede, deny, license, or even fully embargo any foreign trade. So the net result of all this is we're going to keep and grow the tariffs to bring back American manufacturing, which keeps prices low by incentivizing products to be made here in America. But it also means that President Trump has even more tools when it comes to dealing with foreign countries that undermine our security.
Yes, you gotta love Stephen Miller. The guy has like a brain like about this big. I tell you, he really gets into it. But yes, they pretty much affirmed that Trump has all these powers, and he can't do it underneath IEPA, but he just has to go a different direction, and that actually gives it more legs to stand on. So it made him a lot stronger. Let's continue on, and here's CNN with Scott Jennings. You got to check this out.
I will just say, politically today, it was a big breaking news day, but I just think we ought to acknowledge something. This is a properly functioning government today. The President of the United States, the head of the executive branch, made a policy decision. The Supreme Court, that renders legal opinions about these kinds of decisions, made a decision. They said you can't do that. The President of the United States said, okay, I agree, and I will acknowledge your decision. I am going to use a different statute to try to do what I want to do. This is properly functioning government. And I'll tell you one more thing. For every Democrat and every media person that has gone on for the last year or two about how the Supreme Court is a wholly owned subsidiary of Donald Trump, that it's not independent, that it does whatever he says to do, obviously that narrative was obliterated today. So to me, I thought the ruling was sound. I think the president is sound to try other statutes. And I think the narratives about the court not being independent and the president not obeying the court were totally blown up today.
Yeah, so it was totally blown out of the water, blown to smithereens that Democrats can no longer say that uh, the Supreme Court has Trump. Trump has the Supreme Court in their back pocket. So yeah, that's never was the case, but they like to say that. But this is more evidence and proof that that is not the case. So, anyways, here is Laura Ingram.
I feared this is the way the court was going to go, but first your take on the court's reasoning, and then we'll get to the refusal of the court to settle the issue of returning collected tariff monies. But first, your take on the case.
Well, Laura, as you and I previously discussed, the odds were against the president in this appeal. Some of these conservative justices historically take a more textual approach to statutes. They did not see the clear authority under IEPA, and there were good faith arguments on both sides. I actually thought the Solicitor General of the United States did an extraordinary job in oral argument. I thought that he was marvelous. And it ultimately didn't carry the day, but that's what most of us thought would be the outcome. I expect the administration is well prepared for this. It's not a welcomed result, but it's not an unanticipated result. The key is that this doesn't mean the check's in the mail, as you noted, for refunds. It also does not mean that these tariffs are going to fall away. The president has used tariffs as part of his foreign policy, but he's also used it to secure a series of favorable trade deals, including one just in the last 24 hours with Indonesia. And I don't think that is going to change either. And so there are aspects of the result here that the president can take some solace in. You know, the court did recognize, and the majority of the court clearly recognizes, he has tariff authority under other laws. What he does not have is the easier route of IEPA, but that's not, I think, going to materially change his policies.
Yes, he doesn't have the easy route, but he does have a route, and that route is going to have more legs on it underneath the other sections 301 and 232. They won't be able to touch them with those. So yes, and the checks ain't in the mail, but do not worry because if Trump mentioned it and he said it, he's good on his word, and I believe those checks will be out this year. Probably late in the year, November, October will probably be the time that they iron those things out. So it'd be great if it comes. I'm sure it will help out many of us. Yeah, so America will be stronger. Do not worry. Trump is smart and he has an excellent administration surrounding him. He's surrounded with wisdom. And this is just whenever he hits a speed bump, he comes out, he doubles down and comes out on top every time. He can guarantee that. So just remember, America's strong, not weaker, but stronger with this decision. And God bless you. And you have a nice day. Just remember, America will be stronger, and we'll catch you next time on Freedom Talk.
Turn down for what? Turn it up loud. This is Freedom Talk.